Hi, it's Angela. In episode 2, I discussed the concept of spiritual awakening. Maybe you've heard the term before and have wondered what it meant, or maybe you're familiar with it but want to know more about how it works. There are many strange and unexpected symptoms and life changes that go along with a spiritual awakening. Stay tuned to find out more. The Spiritual Life with Angela Boswell. The Buddhists call it Bodhi, but for most of us, I think we struggle to even describe if it exists. All we know is that at some point we develop an awareness that something isn't right, something isn't enough, something is missing out of our lives. We may ignore it for months, years, even decades, but at some point, this longing feeling in us comes to a place where it can no longer be avoided. We begin to feel like we'll do anything to address this need in us to find the truth to what we are experiencing. It is the Bodhi, the path of awakening, coming out of delusion, no longer repeating the patterns of our past, and taking steps toward transformation. As your awakening begins, you may feel like you are going crazy. Things just don't make sense anymore. You are no longer normal, just face it. You may be experiencing things that you used to think were weird or abnormal. Perhaps you even made fun of people like you. Maybe your hands get very hot when there's someone sick near you. Maybe your dreams suddenly seem very real and even parts of them may be coming true. Maybe you just don't feel like yourself anymore, but you can't describe what that means. You may even be having thoughts in your head that aren't in your voice. As you awaken, concrete concepts start being questioned. What you thought was real is only part of the picture. You begin to understand the bigger concepts of why things have happened to you and accept the fact that there are lessons to be learned in each interaction. Sometimes awakening happens after a tragic experience when we need to piece back together our life, and yet all the pieces have changed into something different. At this stage, you will probably begin to lose friends, and even family members may become distant. You may even change your job, or a relationship may end. All the things that you thought were permanent are now changing so fast that your head spins. You seek to find like-minded people, and yet you may not know exactly what that looks like, but you know that you currently don't have them in your life. This has to do with frequency and vibration, and I'll talk about that in a later episode. During this time, you search your world, seeking something that matches up to your experiences. Perhaps now something that someone said to you in the past begins to make sense. Or perhaps that strange friend of yours who is so out there seems to be the only one who can understand you. You may also feel directionless and unsure of what comes next. You may feel unsettled and lost, and all of this is completely normal. It is as if you are awakening from a dream, and yet the dream is reality. You may find that you know things about situations or people that you never really knew before. Spiritual practices such as meditation, energy healing, channeling, or even developing your psychic abilities now seem like the next step for you. Other symptoms of awakening can include your ears ringing, feeling the emotions of others as if they were your own. You can't tolerate negativity. Dreams have become very vivid, and you may even be dreaming of people who have died. Animals and babies watch you curiously. You may feel like you want to go home, but you don't know exactly where that is. You may be waking up around 3 a.m., and you're starting to see patterns in numbers. These are all just a few of awakening symptoms called ascension symptoms. If you'd like a more complete list, join my advanced podcast in the link in this episode, and you'll have access to that information also. You may be having feelings that you just don't belong. You don't belong in the world that you've created for yourself, and yet you don't belong in a world of others' creation either. This is just as it should be, because the awakening process is entirely individual, a path that we must each walk alone, separate from those around us, with a meaning that is entirely based on our own self-understanding. Spiritual practices allow us to find our personal, true understanding of how the divine works in each of our lives daily. This true personal understanding can only be gained by experience, faith, and compassion for yourself and others. By constantly questioning ourselves, our beliefs, and our experiences, we are able to determine our own spiritual connection. Although at times this feels tedious, like, why can't I be enlightened already? We spend much of our time accepting things as being normal when we have never really questioned our own personal beliefs. By this unrelenting questioning, we can slowly peel back the layers surrounding our souls to reveal our true essence. So the good news is, welcome to your spiritual awakening. It will only get more interesting from here. Here are a couple of questions you may want to ask yourself regarding your spiritual awakening. Have you had an awakening moment or experience? And after this event, could anything ever be the same? Have you recently felt like you're being pushed to learn more information? Have you had any of these weird symptoms that I talked about earlier? Here are some resources to help you understand your spiritual awakening. The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. The Artist Way by Julia Cameron. The Gift by Echo Bodine. The Red Book by Sarah Beek, and Any Book by Sark, S-A-R-K. I think my favorite is Eating Mangoes Naked. I hope those resources are helpful for you. Please join me in my next episode where I will be talking about psychic abilities. If you would like to learn more about me or to book an intuitive reading with me, please visit my website at www.angelaboswell.com or just follow the link in this podcast. Thank you for joining me.